Well, the US Secret Service has shot and killed an armed intruder who breached the perimeter at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Joining us live is our US analyst, Michael Ware, for more on this. So do we know any more in the last few hours, Michael, about what's happened and who is responsible, etc.?
Well, no, we don't as yet. As the federal government has said, it was a man, a white male in his early 20s. The Associated Press has identified a 21-year-old man from North Carolina. Now, this guy was reported missing by his family. So obviously something's been going on. Now, what the authorities are saying is that he drove from North Carolina to Florida and either picked up, according to some reports, or purchased the shotgun en route. So welcome to America. Now, this guy attempted to access the Mar-a-Lago estate from the beach side and entered a gate on the outer perimeter. Now, he entered with a shotgun and a canister full of petrol, and that's when he encountered the first line of what would be many lines of presidential defense. Even though the president wasn't there, these guys always are. And he walks in this gate. Now, according to one report, as a staffer was leaving, he slipped in before the door closed. He didn't get 30 meters before he was confronted. The Palm Beach County Sheriff says that one of his deputies and two Secret Service agents confronted this bloke instantly and told him to drop it, both the shotgun and the petrol. Well, he put down the petrol, but he raised the shotgun, and all three blew him away. So this is at least the third known incident involving a gunman potentially targeting President Trump. There was the actual shooter who wounded President Trump, and then there was another guy who, at the same place at Mar-a-Lago, tried to shoot through the fence. This is the third such incident. So, political violence is becoming more and more of a norm here in America, especially if you look over the past 12 months. But at the end of the day, the president was safe as houses in Washington, D.C., hosting the U.S. Governors Association. And, the White House is describing him already as a crazy person. It would certainly seem that way.
I mean, you're right. I mean, it's so divided at the moment and it's so violent at the moment too. But most of it's at Trump. I mean, as you point out, this would be the third time. We still don't know what the motivation here on this last one, but it's extraordinary that Trump has got to go through all of this again.
Yes, well, in one sense, as someone asked me just earlier, will he become the most assassinated president in US history? Because, look, we've had 4 presidents actually killed, assassinated in office. 3 others were shot and wounded, including Ronald Reagan and Teddy Roosevelt. This is not unknown. Political violence is not unknown in this country, sadly. And obviously the White House has come out strong, trying to blame the rhetoric from the Democrats that's fueling this sort of antagonism. The Democrats say, no, you just got to listen to the president himself. His language is so divisive, it's fueling the antagonism. The question I'm wondering now is, notwithstanding whatever the motives of this young kid may or may not have been, and this was a nothing burger of an attack. The president wasn't even there.
Sure.
What I'm starting to wonder is, are we going to get to a point where we see an aggrieved MAGA supporter trying to kill the president, saying, oh, you didn't live up to your promises, whatever? I mean, that's how caustic this situation has become in the United States.
Sure. Just a final one, just before we go, and switching topics, Michael, the extra tariffs, of course, triggered by a Supreme Court decision that went against the original tariffs over the weekend. And then you had trade data last week that showed the tax take isn't all that different to how it was before the tariffs were imposed, the original ones. So what's the idea, in your view, behind this increased tax which would include us, from 10 to 15% now.
Well, it's an increase for some and it's a massive decrease for others. Okay, so, this is a screw Australia kind of increase because we were at 10% and now we've gone under the law that exists. The president can impose a 15% tariff globally. It can't vary nation to nation, and it can only last for 150 days, so 5 months. After 5 months, the president has to go to Congress, which is what the Supreme Court said he should have done in the first place, to get legislation for these tariffs. Now, what the administration is saying, including the Treasury Secretary, who says we can reconstruct this tariff policy, is that, to keep it in place, this administration is going to have to play whack-a-mole with all kinds of little pieces of legislation against different countries for different reasons, because as it stands, since the Supreme Court decision, the president cannot just levy, negotiate, ordain that this country or that country must pay this tariff because I feel that they should. So this has been a major blow, obviously, for the White House economic policy. We saw the president's press conference on Friday where you could tell he was personally aggrieved and he was just lashing out. And he specifically attacked not just the 6 justices from the Supreme Court who were in the majority of this decision, but 2 of those 6 who were his personal appointees from his previous term. And he said to them, your families will be embarrassed or humiliated by you. Now, all of this is on the eve of the State of the Union address on Tuesday States. And additionally, at least 4 of the justices in their robes sit in the front row during that joint chamber address. The question now, who's going to show up? Will it be one of the 2 appointees that he lambasted? Which of the majority? It's going to be an interesting moment on Tuesday night, State of the Union.
No, Will. Yeah, full coverage of that and all the analysis just off the back of that. A planning note for the State of the Union. That's Wednesday our time, Tuesday your time. But Michael, thank you. We'll chat to you again soon.